vagabonds, come all you don't belongs, winners and losers, come people like me. Come all you travelers, tired from the journey, come wait a while, stay a while, welcome you'll be. Come all you questioners, looking for answers and searching for reasons and sense in it all. Come all you fallen and come all you broken, find strength for your body and food for your soul. Come to the feast, there is room at the table. Come, let us meet in this place with the King of all kindness who welcomes us in with the wonder of love and the power of grace. The wonder of love and the power of grace. Who worry about houses and money, and all those who don't have a care in the world. From every station and orientation, the helpless, the hopeless, the young and the old. Come to the feast, there is room at the table. Come, let us meet in this place with the King of all kindness who welcomes us in with the wonder of love and the power of grace. The wonder of love and the power of grace. And dreamers and schemers, and come all you restless just searching for home. Movers and shakers and givers and takers, the happy, the sad, the lost and alone. Come self-sufficient with wearied ambition, and come those who feel at the end of the road. Fiery debaters and religion haters, accusers, abusers, heard and ignored. Come to the feast, there is room at the table. Come, let us meet in this place with the King of all kindness who welcomes us in with the wonder of love and the power of grace. Come to the feast, there is room at the table. Come, let us meet in this place with the King of all kindness who welcomes us in with the wonder of love and the power of grace. The wonder of love and the power of grace. The wonder of love and the power of grace.
Good afternoon to you and welcome to our Wednesday relaunch. Lovely to have you here on another lovely day in Aberdeen. It's just great this past few days. What we in Aberdeen would certainly call tropical, but I know some of you who watch online and share with us from the sunnier climates of the likes of Australia, for you this is probably a kind of cool winter's day, but for us it's good. We're delighted to have you join us online as well, wherever it is that you're joining from. So welcome. Our Wednesday relaunch right at the middle of the day. In the middle of the week, we just take a deep breath, pause, and take the opportunity basically to reflect briefly and to allow the Lord really just to speak into our lives and to relaunch us into all that the rest of today will hold, the rest of the week will hold, and beyond that, the rest of our lives as well, a chance just to start all over again. And Through this month of September, what I've been doing is just working our way through very slowly the last chapter in the four gospel records. There are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all of them describing the life of Jesus and the ministry that he exercised, all taking a slightly different slant, giving us a different angle on that hugely significant life and that hugely important person. And the final chapter of John, chapter 21, is one in which we're given to see precisely this whole possibility of simply relaunching. And all of us need that because we all get it wrong and we all regret things and wish we could start all over again. Good news of the Bible is, yeah, you can. There's a chance to start all over again. And so we're going to read just the first 9 verses of John 21. We'll put them on the screen for you there so that you're able to follow as I speak. And then I'll just say a word or two about them. Afterwards, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee. It happened this way. Simon Peter, Thomas, also known as Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples were together. I'm going out to fish, Simon Peter told them, and they said, we'll go with you. So they went out, got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. And when they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord. As soon as Simon Peter heard him say, it is the Lord, he wrapped his outer garment around him, for he'd taken it off, and jumped into the water. And the other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish, for they were not far from shore, about 100 meters. And when they landed, they saw a fire of burning coals there with fish on it and some bread. Amen. Now, what I want us to think just very briefly about this afternoon is a phenomenon that we're very familiar with. If you've ever watched an infant moving into toddlerhood, you'll appreciate that infants like to start walking. They kind of get the idea that there is life beyond their immobile state in a pram or in a pushchair, whatever it may be, and that actually they can shuffle themselves around, and once they get on their own 2 feet, there is freedom beckoning. And so they're keen to start walking. And by and large, parents are foolishly pretty keen to encourage them in that. Foolishly because once they're on their feet, there's no end of damage that they can cause. But it is an exciting time when the little infant begins to be able to walk. And it is just a gradual process. A child just kind of gets themselves on their 2 feet, takes maybe a step, and then falls down to the floor. Of course, it's not that painful. They've got nappies on, things like that. It doesn't really hurt. And the parents never, ever give them a row for having fallen. They never say after one step and you fall to the floor, you know, what a stupid child you are, that's dreadful, you know, you should be able to hold yourself up and walk a few steps. They are over the moon. They are delighted. They are whooping with joy. They say, whoa, you know, our child has taken a first steps, hallelujah, type of thing. And they then get their mobile phones out. They want to photograph the thing. They say, do it again. The child takes another step, 2 steps this time, and then falls on the ground. And they say, yes, yes, yes. It is a gradual process. Learning to walk. And one of the things that the Bible underlines is that it is a gradual process on our part, learning to walk with God. There's a sense in which that's how the Bible puts the essence of what it is to be alive. It is our learning to walk with God. Some of the key verses in the Bible speak in precisely those terms. Way back at the start of the book of Genesis, we find that God walked in the garden with them. That's the essence of what he means us as human beings to enjoy. Living life with him, able to kind of talk with him, exercise with him, enjoy his presence, and walk with him. And one of the famous verses of the Bible, Micah chapter 6, verse 8, God says, what does the Lord require of you but to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God? That's to say, to enjoy a moment-by-moment ongoing relationship with the living God, walking with God. When you're running, it's not so easy to chat, but when you're walking, you can chat, you can talk, you can kind of talk through the things that are worrying you, and the fact that you are walking along in company often is very helpful. And that's how God means that it should be our lives lived in company with him, just walking through each day in the knowledge of his presence and being able to talk things through with him and hear what he has to say as well. But it's a gradual process, our learning to walk. And that's one of the things that is underlined for us here in these verses in John. Three things in particular that are indicative of the gradual nature of that learning to walk with God. Number one, he is learning slowly to recognize the presence of Jesus. That's the first thing that we come across there. It was early morning, and we're told there that the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He was there, they didn't realize he was there. And that's often part of our growing, gradually coming to recognize that actually in our every situation, Jesus is present. He's there with us. Gradually, we begin to recognize his presence. Gradually, we begin to adopt that perspective whereby we see and recognize his presence. But it is a gradual process. Second thing that we learn here from Peter is that it's gradual in terms of our responding to his summons. Jesus called his disciples to follow him. And they kind of headed off and they started following him and so on. But here, they have reverted back to what they were doing. And very often, in the same way as a learner driver, it's a kind of kickstart type of thing, kangaroo living in a motor car. They kind of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. As we respond to the call of Jesus, it can be like that as well. And it's not the end of the road. Clearly, it wasn't here for Simon Peter. He had responded, and now he's reverted back to the way that he was living his life. And now this is a fresh call from Jesus. And that's one of the things about Jesus. Again and again, he will simply address his call to us, follow me, and we hear that call all over again. And that's what's going on when Jesus says to Simon Peter, throw your net over on the right side of the boat. And he does that. That's Deja Vu so far as Peter's concerned, because way back in Luke chapter 5, we read about a very similar situation where they'd been out, they'd been fishing, they'd applied their energies, they'd caught nothing. It was nothing to show for it. And Jesus called them and said, now go out into the deep again, put your nets down. They did, and they caught a wonderful catch here. Exactly the same thing happening. And that first instance, Jesus says, so now follow me. And they do. This is the same thing. Follow me is the call of Jesus. And gradually, we learn to respond to that call. And it's a gradual thing. We stumble, we fall, we get it wrong, and he perseveres with us. But it is gradually getting on our feet, as it were, with Jesus. Third thing, very briefly, is this, that we learn gradually to rejoice in the person of Jesus. When they come to the shore, they see a fire of burning coals on the shore. It's a kind of charcoal fire on the shore that Jesus has lit. And I suspect that he lit that very deliberately, because what was going on in Peter's head was the previous incident where he had 3 times denied Jesus, and we're told there that was in the face of a charcoal fire. He was kind of gathered around the fire, cool evening, gathered around the fire 3 times over. He had made a fool of himself. He had embarrassed himself by being embarrassed about Jesus. 3 times he was asked, do you know Jesus? He said, no, I do not know him. No, I don't know him. In a sense, I've never met the guy in my life at all. 3 times he denies Jesus. How embarrassing, how shameful was that for Simon Peter. He's aware of that. And what Jesus is doing here is giving Peter the opportunity to kind of play that one all over again. Okay, you made a mess of it. You made a hash of it last time round, but it's not the end of the world. Let's do it again. And you'll see here as we go on next week and beyond into the story, 3 times over Jesus asks him the same question and gives him the opportunity this time to get it right. Do you love me? And he says, yeah. Do you love me? Yes, I love you. And he's learning to rejoice in the person of Jesus. And that's really the essence of our learning to walk with God. We will learn gradually to recognize the presence of Jesus. We learn gradually to respond to the call of Jesus. And we learn gradually to rejoice in the person of Jesus. And gradually, therefore, learn to walk through life, to walk with God. And that's the essence of what God made us for, to enjoy him, that our hearts would go out to him and delight in all that he is. And like little infants born into a whole new realm, he deals very patiently with us to get us on our feet and to get us on our way. And I trust that will be your experience as well, as you'll learn gradually to recognize the presence of Jesus, to hear and respond to the call of Jesus, to follow him, and to rejoice in the person of Jesus. He's very patient. He picks us up and puts us on our feet again and again and again. Let me pray. Lord, thank you that that's how you deal with us, that you are very patient. And we acknowledge that we do, just like infants learning to walk, we do stumble any number of times in terms of what we say, in terms of what we think, in terms of what we do, in terms of the way we just sometimes just don't get what is going on. And thank you that you bear with us very patiently. You pick us up when we fall. You encourage us to press on. You don't blast us out of your universe, but you bid us simply again and again, follow me. And so thank you for the reminder that you give to us in the story here of Simon Peter, of the way in which you help us to walk with you. That's our desire, Lord, that we might honor you by learning to live our lives walking with you. And we'd ask simply for your help to do so through the rest of today, that we might be able to recognize that you, Jesus, you're with us. Help us to know that, to recognize that. Help us to hear your voice always saying to us, follow me. And help us to rejoice in all that you are, your kindness, your love, your patience, and your grace. And live our lives with you, for you, and through you. For your own name's sake, we ask it. Amen. Let's say, lovely to have you with us here, lovely to have you with us online as well. May you indeed enjoy that walk with the Lord.